Contrast Uncut, yeah, you know that's us. Where we only speak the real and the real rock with us. Where we motivate the people and politic on success. Oh no, we ain't DJ Khaled, but they swearing we the best. Contrast Uncut, Contrast Uncut.
What's happening? It's Contrast Uncut. It's season 3. You know it's Pink October and it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And, personally, that is something so important to me. And, this whole show is about raising awareness, bridging the gap, creating opportunities for early detection and rising above. And, this episode is fully dedicated to that. I have an amazing special guest, and I'm going to spend a little bit more time later on this introduction talking about her. But I want everyone to know from the very beginning, this is a very special edition episode that is really near and dear to my heart, and I'm not bullshitting. This shit real. And I have a really blessing of a person to be on the other side to talk about everything. And, we're going to get to it. I want to give a big shout outs to Uncle Snoop's Army and Bobby D Presents. It's your host, Zylo, a.k.a. DJ Juan Dollars, like I won some money. Ladies and gentlemen, today, like I said, we got an incredibly dope special guest. She is a survivor and a warrior. She's a native of Hawaii, Honolulu, but raised in, in the city that don't get that warm and don't see no beaches that pretty as that. Jersey City, New Jersey. She is 7-dimensional on the facets of revenue. She's an entrepreneur, fashion designer, philanthropist, singer, songwriter, screenwriter, model, and dancer. Bruh, she can gig. That's just something else I just got to say. And she's the owner and visionary behind BANJI Entertainment, which stands for Be Authentic and Never Jeopardize Their Individuality. You may have seen her back in 2018 like I did on the Fox Network show, The Four, Battle for Stardom, where this queen finished as the runner-up, and she was the longest holding seat in the history of the show. She received high praises regularly all season long from judges DJ Khaled, Meghan Trainor, and Diddy Combs, while having to persevere and battle cancer while on the show. She's a resilient and a true motivation to determination. She's so uplifting and just a blessing, and at heart, just sitting there chilling. I read a magazine article where she embraced her bald head after undergoing chemo treatments and rocked it like a crown. She has had the honor and opportunity working under one of the greatest in the game, Missy Elliott, and she became her protege, and sharing the stage with some of the greatest on the earth, from Alicia Keys to Rihanna to Sierra, just to name a few. And if you don't know who I got on the show by now, it's all good. We got all episode to chop it up with the resilient queen herself, with the hot new single, New, Sharaya J. How you doing?
What's up? Thank you for that dope intro.
Yes, sure. Like I said, the introduction will tell you all how much I'm honored and blessed to be in front of you. Time's the most finite thing we have on this earth, so I gotta tell you from the jump how much I appreciate your time and you fucking with me, fucking with the listeners and viewers, and being transparent to us and being open. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Yes. So speaking of time, Raya, what's a normal 24 hours for you?
Damn, you know what? That's so funny because I probably don't really hit the bed until wee hours in the morning. So like I'm a night owl, so I might hit the bed about 4:30. That's kind of early. And then by the time I still get up, what I'm saying? It's like 10 o'clock. I get up, I work out. I make sure I take like supplements. I take supplements every morning. So that's kind of like my first things. I get up, take my supplements, and I go work out. Then I'm back at the crib. Then once I get back, I'm doing something creative. I always devote some time a day, whether it's to, writing, or whether I'm working on a routine, or I might pull out some old clothes and make something crazy, you know what I'm saying? But I just feel like it's important to devote at least some time in the day to your creativity. And then, after I kind of get those things out the way, I'm definitely going to sit down and watch Netflix or something in the day, a movie maybe on the way out, because I'm a movie buff, hands down, and a screenwriter, so I love film. But other than that, like, I just kind of let my day flow. After I get those things out the way, then the rest is up in the air, and I'm game for whatever.
Come on. That's where flexibility kicks in. because when you're so well-rounded, you know, you decide to hit all types of corners and avenues to make some things pop. And
right.
you are very, very well-rounded. I mean, it's just amazing how you just create, and then you also take the time to pay homage and keep on investing into that creativity.
Facts, big facts. Yeah.
I got a quote. Let me know how this quote relates to you, or if it doesn't. The idea is I want you to talk about it. Are you ready?
Yeah.
God is powerful in all phrases. Even in my career, even in my life, things end up exactly how I visualize them. Nip the Great, Nipsey Hussle.
Ooh, shout out to Nipsey Hussle, man. First of all, he was so ahead of his time, like, you know what I'm saying, just in thought. And I just love the integrity that he also kept with his whole legacy. Like that's just bomb. That made him even more of a greater artist to me. But he talking big facts right there. Like, I'm a person who absolutely believes in thoughts of things, you know what I'm saying? If you want to go somewhere in reality, you got to go there in your mind first, you know what I mean? So I always thought that, you know what I'm saying, it's very important what you think about, the things that you allow to like run through your head in the day, because they could become, you know, they can manifest. And so I've always been a strong person, like wrapped around the idea of visualization, affirmations. Like I love to see it in real life so that I, you know what I mean, like see it in front of my eyes, so that then it can manifest into something in reality. So I wholeheartedly believe that, hell yeah, thoughts of things. And if you want to see something come to fruition, you have to visualize it first.
Come on. Then put the work behind it. But you know, you are crafty with the pen. You are crafty with your words. And when I hear you rap, I can visually see how you went through that emotion, or visually see how you came up with that bar. And that is a gift. And like, you manifest things so much that, you know, here you are today. You fought the life of death twice.
What?
And
you
we had no Biggie album behind you.
right, that part.
So it's you know, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna say, like, you absolutely right. And a main part of me overcoming, you know what I'm saying, that battle was my mindset, how I kept my thoughts in perspective. Like, I always saw myself healing before it actually happened, you know what I mean? And so I put that out into the universe because I know the power of thought, you know what I mean?
Come on. When I read this quote, it spoke manifestation, but it also spoke a relation between you and Nip that, you know, you guys are both very transparent and rising above. You know, Nip went through every emotion to get to what he got, and he was willing to die behind it to see it come to life. And, you know, take that and be able to be a person that can say, no, that affects me too. That's my story. That right there is the reason why there's passion, there's purpose. There's this whole thing of where, you know what, I could do this for free. But you know what? There's this thing called royalties and writers and publishing. Y'all go ahead and cut me a check. But that's the importance of understanding the game, the knowledge. And, you know, it sort of segues to my question. Did the game choose you, or did you choose the game?
That's so funny, yo. That's like you pulling thoughts right out of my head, because I always, in a lot of interviews, I always say, yo, I know music chose me. Like, I know that what I do chose me, because I never really had, like, I never knew anything else. Like, when I came out the womb, like, my home was hip hop. My father was in a hip hop 90s group. And so at a young, early age, it was just studio, it was tour. I used to watch him lock himself in the bathroom because they had the best acoustics. So he would lock himself in the bathroom with the beat and just write in there for hours. And I think that was like my first real example of even work ethic, and, you know, and the amount of hard work you had to put in, because he used to call the bathroom his office. And so we used to go to sleep at night and he would be walking into his office. And then when I woke up in the morning, he would just be coming out, you know, to go to school the next day. So I think that kind of set the tone for me on just how the work ethic that you're supposed to have, or, you know, like when you have a passion for what you are willing to put into it. And yeah, it's always been something innate in me. I've always been a creative kid. Like, my mom, I didn't have any like stage parents or anything, you know what I'm saying? Like, pushing me. I was always the one like, Ma, I got a rehearsal tonight. I got a talent show Friday. I'm in the da-da-da, you know? And so I just really follow my heart, but I truly believe that it's always been a part of my purpose, because I do believe that the game chose me.
Absolutely. No, I believe it too. And I'm gonna be honest, it's sort of a trick question because you also put in the work. You brought up something so important, the work ethic. Being able to see your father put in so many hours. Do you think he wants to sit in a bathroom and but that's the reality of that's where I get my quiet zone. That's where I get some creativity as a man myself. There's so many good things that came off that toilet, but I'm not gonna put my business out there. But needless to say, that is
look, that's the bathroom is full with great ideas. You know what I mean? People, even in the shower, like thoughts just like come to you. You're right. That's a time when you for sure, you know, you lock in by yourself.
Yeah, Zen moment. Like, you know, shit, keep it 100 in our house or whatever. You know, when you own a house, you got to remember that you ain't got no landlord's going to come by and fix some shit. You got to find a way to make the money and fix it. And so like our shower, I used to run the shower just as soon as I wake up because it was like a Zen moment. It's like I get to meditate. Yeah, just hearing those sounds, those white sounds and clear sounds allows my thoughts to go through. But we started to get a leak in the wall and it messed up the floor, so I don't get to do that no more.
So you like, that's right, you can't do that too much. But I can dig it. I totally relate. I'm here for it.
The work ethic that you got to see, and that's the part of the trick question, because if you feel like you chose the game, then you have to work 10 times harder than someone else that the game chose them. But you don't have to, you already said it, you nipped it in the butt, like, no, I saw what real work looked like. Nothing came easy from my father. And so my father put in the work, and I got to see what it really looked like. I got to see what this dynamic of this game and industry looks like, and how much time spent outside the studio, outside the stage.
Word. Like, and that's just the truth, 100%. Like, I've always worked hard, and I've always had mentors in my life who told me that that's how you was going to get it. You know what I mean? Like, you had to be working harder, because it's everybody trying to get what you trying to get. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be willing to go above and beyond, be up earliest, go to sleep latest. You know what I'm saying? Like, and really put in those hours. Like, even when I was mentored by Missy, like, we would be up, all we did was eat, sleep, breathe music. That's all we did. Like, we didn't do nothing else. We wasn't out at the clubs. We barely had distractions like television and stuff, because she just felt like it was better for us to be creating from scratch and not having like outside influences. And I mean, that really worked for us because it really set our level, like, and I'm gonna say our, like, the other artists and creatives that were in that were working with us, that really made us understand that it brings like this humility upon you that makes you feel like you got to continuously work like you never made it. Because, you know, for somebody coming from Missy, that's how she worked. And when we got up underneath her, she already was Missy. She had her millions, her hits and all that, but she still worked like she never got it. And so that was just, you know, I mean, we use that as a prime example.
Yeah, and then, you know, music especially, for you, growing up, hip-hop is sort of like a reality. Because you grew up with hip-hop. You grew up with the street hip-hop, too. You didn't grow up with that nonsense. You, boy, don't have me press for no play on nothing. But at the same time, what was your confirmation that, you know, your first confirmation that music's what you're supposed to do? Because you can make a choice and, you know, go down another path. You could have been like, hey, I could be an A&R. I noticed that they put these songs together and, you know, that's a void in there. I want to transition like this. I want this beat to go like that. And, you know, you're taking that path. But instead, you had a moment of like, you know, I need to be this. And then there's going to be all these branches connected to this tree from this seed I planted and watered. And I just want to know, what is your first confirmation that you feel? What do you say, Missy? Would you say later down the road? Like, you know.
No, I would say it was way before. It was way before Missy. I think the moment I had an opportunity to hit the stage, like, and I performed on that stage the first time, and it was a small stage. It wasn't no big stage. It was you know what I'm saying? I probably was 7.5 years old, because I always was a dancer and a choreographer too. And really, rightfully, like, that really got me in the door of the industry via like my choreography and dancing. And so when I realized that the stage was my happy place, that's what I knew. Like, and I love performing, and And I always loved writing. And so when I started putting the pieces together, like, okay, I can write, then I perform, I love the stage, then it all kind of like started falling into, you know what I'm saying, a pot for me that I was like, oh, and then like, once I just got in the mix one day, I mean, not one day, but once I was just in the mix and doing what I love, then it made me realize, like, you look around like, oh, all right, okay. You know what I mean? The idea becomes more refined, like, as you go through all these different processes. And, but the moment I felt that exhilaration of performing for people, entertaining people, how that made me feel, that's how I knew I was doing the right thing.
You know, with the entertainment world, for those that don't know, you have to be so patient for when the opportunities come. And then you got to have the most craziest amount of 0 to 1,000,000 to get it done and get it done right and separate yourself from others. And a lot of people just don't understand that you got to have that capability to be like, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. And they call upon your name. You actually have to be ready.
Look, that was one of my favorite. When I was on the show before, that was my staple line because I really felt like that. It resonated with me. I stay ready so I don't have to get ready, because that's really the intention of it. You're right. You got to be on your mark, get set, and when it's time to go, you got to be out, right? Ain't no second chances. That's your one chance, and you better make the best of it. Sure.
Well, we also come from the streets, and the streets, you know, when them opportunities where your life could be on the edge because you're on the wrong side of town or you got the wrong colors on. I'm from LA, you got the wrong cap on. You know, you have that awareness of the look around, keep your head and shoulders on a peel, so that if you see something, you out of dodge or you face it, and you know how to move ahead of time. Sometimes you got to throw the first punch so you got more time to run.
Look, come on. You better keep it 1,000 though, for real.
Oh. And from there, that's the whole point of preparation. What part of life, if you're getting prepared to, if you have to face something that can cost you bodily harm, why don't you apply that to making money? Why don't you apply that to opening the dreams or the door to the dreams of your reality?
Yes, I love that. I'm here for that statement for sure. I agree.
So, you know, manifestation and prayer has everything to do with that. You have to manifest and see yourself. You have to think to yourself, you know what? I got on blue and I'm over here in Crenshaw Mafia neighborhood and I don't know nobody. You know what I'm going to have to do, right? I'm going to have to be nice and cool and respectful and do what I can to get up out the situation. But you also have to be aware to look for that. And like, you know, I got to pray that I get out of this situation. I got to manifest I survive before I even touch this. And
come on, bro.
You already talked about, but I want to make sure you can give your own story to the listeners on your journey of manifestations as we started from the jump.
Yeah, for me, well, yeah, like manifestation always been really big in my life because my grandmother was, she absolutely believed in it. She was the one who taught me about manifestation. And like I said earlier, affirmating. She taught me how to do like vision boards and when I was a young girl, you know what I mean, she kind of instilled that idea into me so that by the time I became like a woman, those things really locked in my head. You know what I mean? Like she would tell me like, you know, what do you want to do 2 weeks from now? And I would say, oh, I want to go to Great Adventure. She's like, all right, boom, well, let's write it all on paper and hang it up everywhere. Hang it on the fridge, hang it on this, hang it up everywhere so that I could see it every day, visualize it, and then it would manifest. And so when she gave me, which I feel like was a gift to give to somebody, because that's a gift you can continuously use for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? And so she did that for me. And that's where manifestation started for me early on. For small things. But then I started realizing, you know, I could apply this to bigger things, like wilder dreams, like, you know what I'm saying, put those kind of things out into the world. And I did use that too when I was on the show. And I had all over my wall, like, you know, Sharaya J is healed. I am healed. And you know what I mean? And I would see that stuff every day to really pull that into my existence. And I believe that I did.
You know, that is a true testimony, number one. But as I'm thinking about it, I'm like, this beautiful queen has been able to transition from recognizing her gift on the stage from one facet to another. You're not a triple threat. When I said this introduction, I said, you know, you're 7 facets, and I'm not capping, I'm not bullshitting. That is because you understand all the different roles, from the dancing to the singing to the songwriting to the fashion to the just everything in sync. And that is a full brand. That is something you look at. That is something you respect. And it's like, that's when you see a Beyonce and then you see a local artist and you wonder why so many people invest into Beyonce and not the local artist, because she's offering these 7 different facets for you to be able to enjoy and fall in love with.
Yes.
When I think of your brand and what you represent, I first of all got to spend some time talking about it, because it's an incredible brand. But at the same time, I want to make sure that we educate people. We understand what are some of the things you're doing for the brand and involvement in society, because those are the things that you are bridging the gap from what you feel, what you recognize, what you said. This is a blessing. This is wisdom. This is pushed forward to me, and you're paying it forward through what you do.
Absolutely. Hands down. Yes. So yeah, the BANJI movement is, it's a very special thing to me. I created the movement a while back because I did have a true life run-in with like some record executives, and they wanted to give me a deal. They wanted to sign me. I remember they were saying, yo, we love everything about you. Like, you have star quality. We love your records. Your performance is amazing. But, you know, I've always been very creative with my fashion and thought, you know, out the box, because I think that that's also a form of creative expression. And so at the time I was rocking a blue Gumby. You know what I mean? I came up as a kid in the 90s, so I was obsessed with the 90s Bobby Brown. Like, he was before I was a little kid, but I still, you know, I loved him. So I had a blue Gumby, and I still like to rock baggy clothes. You know what I mean? Like TLC did, and Aaliyah. So I looked up to women like that. And I remember they said, yeah, you have amazing records, superstar quality, but before we sign you, we just need you to really take the time and change these 2 things. And I'm like, what? Like, what's up? They was like, we're going to need you to get a weave, because female rappers aren't wearing their hair short like that these days. It's just, you know, it's just not a thing. And then they said, and then we're going to need you to dress a little bit more provocative, show some more skin, because, you know, female MCs these days is about selling sex. You got to really, you know, people are looking for you to sell sex. And long story short, I did not take that deal. And, you know what I mean? And that was, and, you know, and that was a big moment for me, because, you know, all artists, all we hope is to one day be able to get a great deal, you know what I mean, that works with our creativity and who we are. And so to have to make a decision to choose and say, nah, like, if y'all said that y'all thought I was a superstar, my music was good, like, those are the things that I feel like should be at the top of the priority list. And no, why do I want to look like every other female artist out here? I want to be able to come out as Sharaya J, who I am, you know? And so the BANJI movement, at that moment, I denied that deal. But then it also sparked this idea for me to create the BANJI movement, which is an acronym for Be Authentic, Never Jeopardize Your Individuality. Because I just feel like it's important for people to love the skin they in, not have to apologize for being unique or being different. Like, we should be embracing those parts of us, you know what I'm saying? And so, so then that was where the whole movement basically got created, and I stood on, that was like the foundation of my entire brand, you know what I mean? And I also came up amongst a lot of mentors who encouraged me to do that, embrace who I was, love who I am. And I wanted to have something to stand on to share with other young girls coming up in this business, you know what I'm saying, that could just encourage them to do the same. And so with that being said, I've done like a lot of mentoring in the community, going back and like having set up, I'm actually doing the Revolt Summit this weekend on mentoring a lot of whoever wants to come into it's called Step Into My Office. And so they get to get online with me and have a real mentoring back and forth consultation, which I'm so excited about, because I believe that is what it's about. It's about paying it forward. And if somebody gave you those jewels to help you along your journey, then it should be your duty, or you should have that responsibility of passing them on to other people.
Come on, we can't take those jewels with us in the coffin or in the.
Come on, right?
You can't
let these people have that information.
Yes, but you know, something that you are shedding the light on with your company is standing up for your morals, standing up for your values, knowing
Yes.
your worth, and understanding that you got to stay the course. You know,
Come on.
you can't jump on the plane and be like, you know what, I'm too high, I'm scared to jump out this motherfucker. Can you land back down?
Can you land right?
You going wherever the hell. I mean, you could say a bomb, they might land that motherfucker, but you're gonna sit down for a long time, and that's a part of life. And you have these moments of, yeah, they're crazy analogies, but the reality is that's real. This shit is happening in real life, and people are signing their life away. They'll say, hey, they'll be like, you know what, I'm a blood, I bang, but you know what, they're offering me a deal to be a Crip, and I get paid extra amount of money, and you know what, fuck it.
Right. They right to it. It's crazy, but you're right.
And it's a sad reality. And you have wonderful people in this world like yourself that is pushing the envelope and recognition for people that overcome and standing to their ground, standing to their morals and values, because those are the things that are near and dear to your heart that will have people really grow. We wouldn't have a fake society if we had all these people standing to their morals, would we?
No, right. Come on.
So I love your brand. I love your music. But when you put the words out there and you build up this foundation, brick after brick, and then it's finally standing there and people get to walk by and look at it. I'm just one of those people that's gonna stand there. I may smoke by it. I may come back around another time. I'm gonna bring my wife and kids by later on. You know, that is something, because I want my wife to see this. I want my daughter to see this. I want them to show so many more people, because it's encouragement in a field that people get ran over. There's different countries where women are not even allowed to get big record deals, but they having them sing on the songs. They have them do all this stuff, but it's so fucked up. Or even going into the women's boxing. You got women athletes that are world champions, and guess what? They get 30% of what a man gets. But they get hit the same way.
The same thing, exactly. Where they do that at? That's crazy.
And so we're in a world where this is continuing, and it takes people and brilliant minds to say, you know what, I'm gonna sacrifice whatever this amount of money is so that I can stay true to myself, and I can encourage others to stay true to themselves, because what does that do? It resets the market. Look at what he's doing with this mastering and putting knowledge out. Resets the market. You know what? I can't holler at Sharaya J about something if she ain't getting her masters, because guess what? Capitol Records is giving their masters and they cash you out. So it's like, oh, I gotta come back to the drawing board. I can't recruit this star athlete, this star singer, songwriter, or in this case, someone that has 7 capabilities when they touch that stage.
I mean, it's wild, but it does reset the market, and we need people to do that. Yes, we do.
What have been some of the biggest challenges in resetting the market for yourself and establishing yourself on staying to the course?
Well, for me, I think, I don't know if a lot of people understand, but I've always been an independent artist from the beginning. Like, I have always been independent. And so everything with my brand is absolutely grassroots, like brick by brick, like hard-earned days in the studio, have, conversations, business, learning. Like, I made a ton of mistakes I had to learn from, but, experience is the best teacher, in my opinion, still to this day. And then so for myself, I've definitely gone through so many different levels of trying to figure out, what would be the best way for me. And wait, you said, we was talking about something. What was the first part that you said?
The biggest challenges you faced in essentially, fighting and combating against what you feel is wrong. Because when you reset the market, you put those energies out into the world, because I'm not going to look like, I don't want to throw no names out there, but I'm not going to look like the next beautiful thing on the side that's going to show some extra skin, even though I've never felt comfortable doing that in my life. And then we have anxiety and they don't want to do shows anymore, but we have such incredible music from this person, and what are we supposed to do? Because we want to see it now. We built this up, and she had to sell herself to a degree so that we can have this, and she doesn't meet up to that, and then we're lost in the sauce of like, when we gonna get the next record, or who's gonna be the person to get her to come out of that realm of anxiety to overcome so we can get the next record.
Yeah, no, I definitely sacrificed a lot by standing on my integrity. I will be 100% honest. Like, you know, even just with particularly reality TV too, and the connection it has a lot with like musical artists now. And it was a bunch of reality shows that came to me a lot of times and asked me to be on to be a cast member, but reality TV, like for me, never really connected with who I was and like the type of brand, well, particular ones. Like the reason why I did something like that is because it was more talent based and, you know, based upon our gift. And it wasn't really trying to like just promote like your personal life and the drama that's going on in it, etc.
You know, in my opinion, you would have gave my homie Dan, D Smokes, a run for his money on Rhythm and Flow, just being 100. You would have gave Dan, and shout out Dan, shout out Daryl, shout out Davion, Harris brothers. I love y'all, sir. D Smokes, like I love y'all. But you would have gave my partner a run for his money when it came to that whole entire contest.
Yo, and the funny thing is they actually did reach out to me about being on that show, but I had literally just got off the 4 and I wasn't, you know, that wasn't about to be my thing, like going on every single reality show. But I was also just, the 4 had taken so much, you know, I was like a little depleted when I left there because I left everything on that stage. I was like, all of it. I was transparent, everybody, I left it there. And so, so, you know, a lot of people would always be like, oh girl, if you would have got on that thing, your career would have been so much, or you'd have been so much more popular. You know, you would have been, but then I was saying, but yeah, what cause? Because then, you know, I mean, I would have been up there doing it in an atmosphere that didn't feel true to who I was. And how do you shine and excel in something that you're not, you know, personally connected to? And so even though a lot of people may have felt like, oh, you would have gotten so much further, so much quicker, I was willing to sacrifice whatever that was because I felt like my path was different. I wasn't just about trying to get fame and trying to get, you know, popularity. Like I do what I do because it's just a part of who I am. You know what I mean? And if any of that extra stuff come, that's amazing. But I couldn't go home and sleep at night, which is what is a main important thing to me. I couldn't sleep well had I made certain decisions that didn't really speak to who I was. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes. And no, you definitely you taken the long route. See, a lot of people think that if you take the short route, you sign the papers, get the money, that it's over. No, you just said that I'm just going to take this jet over here and not realize how this jet performs, how it gets up off the ground, gets in the air and lands. You're just going to be on the other side of it. Like, how do I get paid outside of this advancement? How do I see these publishing numbers? How do I see this? And you don't know because all you did was sign the paperwork. I had an attorney look at it, but you know, this attorney wasn't an entertainment lawyer, but he was a family friend. And what they said, it's okay.
You already know the horror stories with that. You already know. But that's true. Like, I feel like, you know, greatness takes time and it is going to take some sacrificing, and you might not get there when you want to, but when you do arrive to the place that you want, then you'll be, you know, prepared and ready for it because you followed the journey. You know what I mean? So
yes. And speaking of your journey and past, something else I'm very proud that I get to say this. Yeah. You're brand ambassador of Alexander Wang. Like,
yes, I
on.
Was. Yeah.
That thing right there is so amazing because you have a touch to not only one type of style, but the upper echelon of style. That's that $1,000 garment that, you know, we can buy for $30 for a shirt, but they sell it for $1,000 because the person that put that stuff on there is why it's a band. And
exactly.
You were a lot of the part of that growth and, you know, looking at how stuff was changing in the culture for Alexander Wang. And so it's like, what can you tell aspiring fashion designers and entrepreneurs about, you know, interacting with brand ambassadors and becoming a brand ambassador?
You know what? I think that See, the beauty of fashion, like I said, is that it's still an avenue to be creative and to be expressive. And so I just think that Alexander Wang connected with me. Like, we didn't even know each other, like, initially. And he just saw one of my videos and figured out who my manager was and reached out to her and said, yo, can she come down to the showroom? I would love to meet her. And I was like, hell yeah, Alexander Wang, like what? And so we did. And he just loved the fact that because I'm very expressive and like to do creative dressing and outfits in all my videos. So he loved the fashion in my video. He loved the concept of it. And he was just like, when I saw that video, I was like, I need to meet this person. And so I got a chance to link up with him, and he was so cool, humble as hell, you know what I'm saying? And just was like, let's work, like we got to work together. And of course I was down because I've always been obsessed with fashion. I love Alexander Wang. And then, yeah, he asked me to be the brand ambassador of his tea, Alexander Wang line, which we did a whole video and a campaign for with Chris Kattan from SNL. And it turned out really amazing. And then we ended up, that fashion week, I performed at his show. And then the next year, when he did a collaboration with H&M and Alexander Wang, I also hit the stage, the big stage for his, in the middle of his fashion show. So shout out to Alexander Wang, showing mad love. And that was just like a great experience. So you know what, I think that the key is that's why I encourage people to be themselves, because you never know who's watching, whose eyes might connect to what you're bringing to the table. Because if you just doing the same thing everybody else doing, then only that one type of person, you know what I'm saying, will be interested in what you're doing. You never know what kind of creative ideas you could spark by just being yourself, because that's what I was doing. And that encouraged a person like Alexander Wang to reach out to me and say, yo, I love what you're doing here. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes. Just to embrace individuality is a true blessing. And at the same time, you understand something else. It's relationships. If you would have said, oh, Alexander Wang, he costs too much, I don't like supporting it, what do you want with me? That relationship would have never, ever manifested into fruition, where you could say, I was able to touch this stage. I was able to rock this. I was able to do so much. And then guess what that does? That adds more core value to what you're doing.
Exactly.
And so I just want you to talk just a little bit about relationships and what they have meant to your career, because people don't understand, when you put a fire to a bridge, not only do you burn that bridge off where you can't go back, but you burn yourself. You block your own blessing by doing those types of actions. And life is too short for you to start to ablaze unless it's to, you know, something in hell. Then that's a whole different story.
That's a whole different story, right? Nah, I would totally say that it is like the fact that you, as an artist coming up in this game, you're going to run into a lot of people. You do realize the importance of relationships, how it is to treat people. I always say you see the same people on your way up that you see going on your way down. And so you need to, you know what I'm saying, treat everybody with that same type of, you know, respect, integrity, and then understand too that in business, which is a lesson I had to learn, I know a lot of other people have to learn, business is not always personal, you know what I mean? And you have to understand, like, sometimes stuff is business, and then, you know, with other people, stuff is personal. And so I think that it's very important to keep strong, solid relationships. Like, your name and your reputation is so important in this business, because, you know, our business is small. Even though it's big, it's a small business. And so, you know what I mean, the way you handle this person in this relationship could possibly affect, you know what I mean, your reputation way before you even meet another person, you know what I mean? And I've also had a lot of lookouts with just having a great relationship with this person, and they don't mind saying, without me asking, they might just make a phone call to somebody, you know what I'm saying? Oh, Sharaya, I got Sharaya does this, maybe you should reach out to her, you know what I mean? She's a good person. And I've been able to gain a lot of opportunities just on, you know, on that accord, because people who I rock with hard have linked me up in different situations, you know what I'm saying, just because of the way I treated them in our personal relationship. And so, I mean, every relationship can't be $100 grand, you know what I mean? Everything's not going to be perfection, every relationship you have in this business, but the ones that you know what I mean, you do come into contact with, cherish them and really appreciate, you know what I'm saying, people that take time to show love and treat you well in the business, because I'm sure it'll come back to be good for you in some way.
So now when you guys hear Sharaya talking about small business, she's not talking about her business. She's talking about the reality of 3 degrees of separation in this entertainment business. That's what she's saying. Like there's so many people that start off as novice, or they feel like they've done so much, but they haven't got out their region. There's nothing wrong with that, but you got to realize that you're in an ocean. You're like Dora, you know, or Dory, keep on swimming. And
right.
have that understanding that eventually you have to level up. And when you level up, you go from this ocean to like a big ass Olympic sized pool, and then you go from that level up to you in a pond. And you in a pond with all these big sharks and lions and everyone that's walking these grounds, and you have to play everyone as if, you know, the respect and admiration you would have for the biggest lion and shark for all the baby ones that are making it to the same field, because you don't know that this person will become this person's executive record executive.
What?
Or this person
seen it happen
A&R.
So many times. I've seen that happen. I've seen it happen in real life. You know what I mean? And people, but that's why that is the goal, to really work on building strong relationships, because good and strong relationships in this business will see you through to where you need to be, for sure.
Come on. I bet everyone that was going to Clark, Atlanta from 99 to 04, they got to have the ability to hang around DJ Drama, Serge Duran, Vice President Capitol Records, Don Cannon, Stephen Victor. It's just so many people that went to that era during that time, and they all had that same energy of, hey, they ain't got something out here. We not from here, but let's build. Let's build. Let's make something of it. A lot of people don't know Don Cannon and DJ Drama's from Philly. And they really infiltrated that Atlanta sound and that mixtape circuit and worked with Serge Duran, and, you know, hitting that. He was selling mixtapes in front of a barbershop on Clark, Atlanta, their little stroll. And so everyone was selling mixtapes, and that's how everything built. And if you notice, I've been digging in and talking about so much stuff as a fan, as appreciation of what you do. I forget that the whole reason why we have this interview, why it's airing in the month of October, is that we got to raise awareness. This episode is dropping on October 16th, which is National Mammogram Day. And I got to make sure that we take the time to not only, you know, take a pause on a little bit of the entertainment, but take the time to raise awareness. You know, early detection is something that we all need to be okay with, and just going through the process. Don't be afraid of learning you have something. You know, be afraid of what you can't do with the time you have left. And we all got a date at the end of the time. We don't know our date. We're not in that movie End Time where it's going to pop up on our wrist and we could buy more time. We ain't gonna do that. All we can do is just live every day like it's our last and embrace it, because life is too short. And yes, it could be a cliche, but until you face the life of death, and having to see the Grim Reaper a couple of times and saying, fuck you, I'm not swimming, I'm not jumping in that boat, I'm not getting lost in this dream that you want me to keep going down. I'm going to keep on going forward, and I'm going to get back to this life and breathing and rising above. And you've been able to do that. And I want to make sure we spend enough time as possible on speaking about your journey and speaking about the importance of what you were able to do, and listening to your body, listening to your mind and soul, help you recognize what you have to do differently so that you can be here today, making me smile and laugh every time that I hear your music, or in this case, being able to speak to you.
Yes. Breast Cancer Awareness Month, October, special month for me. Like I got diagnosed the end of 2017, ironically in October. And I had just recently lost my grandmother. She battled cancer for about 25 years or so, but I was very close with her. I mean, like this. And so I watched her on that entire journey. And when I lost her, I really didn't have enough time to process that part before I had to kind of switch hats and get into like this survival space and survival mode. And initially, I didn't do chemo initially because I found a lump. I was on tour, and I remember calling my mom saying like, damn, you know, I found a lump. I don't know if I should go to the doctor out here, but she pretty much was like, wait till you get back to the States when you get off the road. will go. And then I did go, and I was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. And then I finally decided to embark on the chemo journey. After my first session, all my hair fell out. Like, it was like clockwork. I thought that it would at least be, you know, a couple sessions in, but no, mine was quick. And so, but with the first like idea of I started like patches, because it was a crazy story, because I was going to the salon to get my hair done, and I was wearing it like in twist at that time. And when I sat in the chair and my stylist went and grabbed my hair, a patch just came out. And she was like, oh shit. And I think she didn't even want to say nothing to me at first, but I kind of felt the vibe. I was like, what's wrong? So it made me kind of go up here and go like this. And when I went like this, another patch came out. I was like, damn. So my hair started already coming out. So I decided just to shave it all off. Just get rid of it. You know what I mean? I've never been a person like, you know, too obsessed with like physical appearance or anything like that. And like, I used to always wear my hair short, long, whatever. So I was just like, cut it off. Like, let's get rid of it. And I believe that it was that the 4 actually ended up being a blessing for me in my life, because I had never did a reality TV show before, but then they randomly called me. I was only on like my second session of chemo, and they called me, asked me, oh, can you come to LA? We got this new show. We would love for you to be a part. Our executive producers want to meet with you. And I was like, hell yeah. Like, yeah. Like, I was in such a open space at that time too, vulnerable, like just like, all right, bet, let's go see what's good. So I went to LA, met with the producers, and it was like 45 minutes after I left there, they called me and said, Sharaya, we would love to offer you this seat. And a lot of people didn't know that originally when I first got offered my seat on the show, they didn't even know I was dealing with cancer. Because, you know, I always been, like I said, I always been a real fashionable girl. So, of course, I had like this fashionable wrap on my head and just, you know, going in there like regular. And I remember they were wrapping up my story like 3 weeks into building my story. And the producer was like, Sharaya, is there anything else you might like to add to your story? It's almost done. We're wrapping it up. And I kind of thought to myself, like, I had that moment, like, should I? But then I realized that if I was to go on that show, I was going to be transparent, and and that's what I was going through in real time. So I was going to walk in my truth. You know what I mean? I had made that hardcore decision. And then I told him, yeah, I'm also battling stage 2 breast cancer right now. I'm in the middle of chemos, and I would have to be going through the rest of my chemo sessions while battling on the show. And so I decided that, yeah, I should let them know. But they called my doctors. I had to get my doctors in Atlanta, because at the time I was staying in Atlanta. So I got my doctors in Atlanta on the phone with the people from LA. They had these conversations. They set it all up. And shout out to the 4, because they really took care of me. Like, you know what I mean? They really like helped me, because they knew I was going through a lot. So anyway, I got on the show, and what people didn't realize is that initially I was getting chemo in Atlanta. So I would fly home to Atlanta, have chemo, get back on a plane, go to LA, and then the next day I would have to be on the stage battling my next contender.
I just gotta add something. For those that don't know, I've lost my brother to cancer. I've lost my father-in-law to cancer. Like, he was my dad. And, you know, wow, to have a wife and a girlfriend become your wife, and their parents become more of like, you know, that was something that was big to me. And, you know, cancer took him out. And so that shit, it hurts me so bad. But what has me sharing this is that specifically when you go through chemo, people are normally done for a day, 2, 3 days. There's no right back bouncing up. My father-in-law would go back to work the next day because he has to provide. And I see my brother that I seen was the biggest warrior in my life, and I'm afraid of him, even though I'm bigger than him. But I was afraid of him because look how he handled cancer. Like, look how he handled this. Look how he handled all these big issues. But I would have my brother wrapped up for 4 days, and I wouldn't be able to see him. He wouldn't talk to anybody. And
it was for real. Yeah.
To see, and it's not even see. Everyone saw it. Everyone saw your growth, your testimony. But to know that you overcame and you were going back and forth after chemo, coming on camera, having to have all those raps, like, that is something that is so monumental to understing what God overcome. It's amazing.
And I was the only one responsible for even writing original lyrics every episode. Like, it was a cover show, so everybody was singing covers of their favorite artists. But as an MC, I'm like, I can't go up there and rap nobody else's bars up here, you know, trying to challenge. So I was actually writing original lyrics to my records every week. And, you know, that's one thing, that happened to memorize them. And then we were shooting a show. So we were doing wardrobe, rehearsal with the band, B-roll, personal interviews. Like, this was a whole 24-hour day happening. And then in between that, I would have to get chemo and then push through. You know, some days, yeah, you're right, chemo does a job on your body. Like, what? And I would just have to get up in the morning and just like push myself. I would do that. I would just get up and talk to myself, and you could do this. And like I said, I had a lot of great affirmations on my wall in my hotel room that I was staying in during the show. And every week I just promised myself that I would show up. If I could, I would show up and show out. And then after I would 3-4 performances in, I started feeling like I wasn't getting up there just for myself, because the amount of love and support that the people and the viewers were pouring into me made me feel stronger, you know what I mean? And being able to get up that next week and push through. And I really did that throughout that whole show. And it was even a time where the chemo that I was getting had ruptured 2 of my vocal cords, which had me like all crazy, because I had no idea that chemo would have that effect. But now you got 2 ruptured vocal cords on a vocal competition show. Like, it was up and down, left and right. I was at the doctors the whole time, back and forth, but I would never let them count me out. I really had in my mindset, you know what I mean, that I was going to push through as much as I could. And by the end of the show, I did. That tumor that I went and initially got diagnosed with was gone.
Whew.
It was deep.
To face adversity, and then at the same time, because let's be honest, let's be open and transparent. When we're doing some of the things we do and we have self-doubt, especially as creators, it could have us like, you know, I don't want to do this. I get anxiety kick in. I don't want to do this. Like, why am I going to do this? Like, why am I going to expose? What if they don't like it? I'm doing all this stuff. And you get these different thoughts in your head from anxiety of what's going on in reality. And then here we go. As soon as you touch the stage, that's the blessing of God. That's the light, him touching you and pushing you forward, because as all these thoughts are in our head, they disappear.
They disappear. They're not even there in that moment. They're not even present. And it's true. And, you know, and I did deal a lot with that. You know, I was a little subconscious, and initially, like, my first 3-4 performances, I always wore a dope hat or a scarf or something. And then one time, right before my next performance, I said, you know what, this time, I think I'm gonna just wear my bald head. I'm gonna just wear my head. Like, I'm not gonna cover it up. I'm out here, like, you know what I mean? Like, the people love it or not, but it was something, you know, especially as a woman, like, you lose all your hair. And I'm talking about all your hair. Like, that's a big, you know what I'm saying? That's like something huge that a woman has to deal with. But that's why I said, you know what, nah, the first night I went out there with it bald, I had an amazing makeup artist, and I asked her, could she do henna on my hair, and she did. And then from then on, we just started having fun with the bald head, and that's why I said I rocked it like a crown, because the next every week after that, the makeup artist would be like, okay, so what we doing this week? How we gonna kill it? How we gonna freak it this week? You know, and I think that also encouraged a lot of people dealing with it too. You know, in the world, being able to watch me get up there and not allow my diagnosis to define my destiny. You know what I mean? And so that was it was a beautiful moment in time. It taught me a lot about myself, my own tenacity to not only fight and live, but fight and overcome each battle that was placed in front of me every week. And so, you know, when we got to the end and I didn't necessarily I didn't win the competition, you know, a lot of people was really upset, and I just can't ever say that I ever felt like negative emotion. I wasn't angry. I felt like I got the biggest W that it was to get, you know what I mean? And so a contract or nothing like that couldn't have been or compared to the gift that I got at the end, which was my tumor was gone, and I got to do my art in front of the world and just show people that, you know, that I was a fighter, and I wasn't gonna let cancer just take over my life.
You know what? It's that old saying, but right now I think it hits home really hard. You know, you may have lost that battle, but you sure in the fuck won that war.
Come
And
on, right.
you know, and that reflection is you look at that, it's like, you know, I took some wounds, I took some beating, you know, I should have got the crown, but I got the crown. It was already on me. I just had to realize what was in me had to get back on top of me so people could see it. And
Say
you
that.
so many people see it, and it created such a wave that people get drowned in the wave. And it's not that we're drowning because we can't breathe with too much water. It's because so much of that is such cloudy, and so many different things are in our life that will cause us not to see the things we're supposed to see. And it's meant for us to get drowned, meant for us to be at the bottom so that we can see how dark it is. So when the sun comes back around, it's hella bright.
We know the difference.
Woo! Woo,
Right.
Amazing.
Yes, yes. And I believe too that with cancer, I think a lot of people need to understand, well, at least what I understand about it was that it's not just a physical ailment. You know what I mean? Like it's at every level, like your mental state, your emotional state, like everything can be affected. Stress is a really big, you know,
disease.
Catalyst.
Right, it's a disease.
Yeah, disease. Yeah, exactly. And so that's all it is. And so you have to really understand that when you're trying to look to heal yourself, you have to kind of do it across the board. You know what I mean? Check in with yourself. What am I doing? Am I not doing self-care right? You know, it's not just, am I mentally okay, emotionally? Am I holding on to anything? Because that stuff can manifest as disease for sure.
Come on. I've done probably close to 200 interviews, and I say like maybe 15 of them were in person. My brother, he's on the wall, and he comes and he's in every interview with me. We have his ashes in the room, but you know, would I rather have him be here? Yes, but I can't take back the moments of me not being there during that time while he was going through his darkest moments. And so, like, you know, that thing is something that I think will always eat at someone when they lose a loved one and life is going on and you don't make time. And so I just want to make sure that, you know, you have continued to shed the light on the disease, but at the same exact time, you're shedding the light to encourage people to spend more time with their loved ones, because there's more hope than there is doubt. And the hope comes from putting that presence, putting that energy around your loved ones that are battling something that they cannot control. All they can do is move forward and try to have the best thoughts.
Yes, the best thoughts. Yeah. That's the main key for me. Like I try to, you know, my mindset is very key to being able to continue to live my life fully, you know, cancer. And then, you know, a lot of times I think it is something that we deal with forever. You know what I'm saying? Like we always have that on our plate. Even when we get into remission, it's just always something that could come back that, and it's in the back of your head for sure. But I think it's important too, like you said, be around people, your family that, you know, laugh, love a lot. Just take advantage of every single day that you get to be alive, breathing air, do what you want to do. You know what I mean? Don't hold back. Like, you know, YOLO, really.
Come on. You know, you don't realize how much you cherish or appreciate something until it's gone. And you don't realize that when you take that away from yourself because you didn't create time, you have so much time you spend beating up yourself because you didn't make it happen. And, you know, you can get anything from this interview, and I'm not done with you yet. I know I probably ran past my time, but I just got a little bit more to go. But, you know, if you can take one thing from it, is you have got to just push the envelope of moving forward and embracing things. You know, if you embrace evil with goodness, you know, goodness will push the fear and the evil out. And in every
light will run out the dark.
Come on. And I'm not, granted, I'm freestyling a lot of what I say because it comes from the heart, but it makes sense. And that's why I've got so in tune with my spirit, because it allows me to spit out things that, I'm not gonna lie to you, 80% some of the big words I say, I don't know what they mean. I just know they apply and they make sense. And then I'll look it up and be like, that's what that meant? Oh, I was right. And
right. I love that though.
It also comes from, like, you know, my family. I come from music background. My brothers was in a rap group, and, you know, I managed them, and I tried to rap, and, you know, that wasn't what I was good at. I wasn't good on trying to be on beat, but I realized I had a gift of just talking and putting things together. And it leads me to, I got to know something. It may be hard to choose, but what have been your 3 dopest moments working so far in this game?
I mean, the 4 is in there. That's just there. Like, I have to just give it to that because for so many different reasons that we just talked about. So I would totally say the 4 amazing moment. I think that the BANJI movement, creating that and standing on that foundation for my entire career, and just the people that have really poured out in support of it, and you know, because the BANJI, like, I had people send me BANJI. They put BANJI in the Urban Dictionary as a, you know, as our full definition, and in the rhymes and slangs dictionary. So I'm proud of that, you know what I mean? Because a couple people sent it to me like, yo, the acronym is in the dictionary. I'm like, oh, that's love. And I think too, being able to mentor underneath Missy, like, she really taught me a lot about the music business, like, you know what I'm saying? And so I learned and grasped a lot of jewels from her. And the thing about that too was I wasn't afraid to be a student, you know what I mean? Like, and really absorb, because I believe that you have to remain a student until you can become a master. And I've had to do that so many times because I do so many different things. But like, if I excelled here in my dance career, when I moved to my artist career, I started again at the bottom. Then I had to work my way back up. And I think people don't understand that. So when I went and did the fashion, same spiel. You have to start as a student until you can get that experience to build up to that master level. You know what I mean? And so I would totally say that was a big deal. You know what I mean? A lot of people I know would have loved to mentor underneath Missy, and that was just a blessing that kind of just fell into my lap too. But, you know, I wouldn't say fell into my lap because I really create. Nothing is, you know, by mistake.
No, it's manifested and it's brought into this world and it's received and ran away with. You know, speaking about this, I want to know just one more quick question about entertainment. Who do we owe to thank you for investing into your dreams to make them come into reality? You know, there's so many people that have been along the way, but I want to know, who do we owe the big thank you for investing and saying, hey, here's this mustard seed and, you know, let it grow into this monster tree. And you know, you believed in watering it.
I will give that to my family. I mean, I'm not even gonna front. Like, my family have been my strongest supporters from day one. I remember when I actually was going to school, and I initially started college in pre-law, and my grandmother, because my grandmother wanted me to be a lawyer. You know, I loved her so much. You know, my father was in the music business, so they was like, run, because they had experience, you know what I'm saying, his whole thing. And they was like, no, Ray, not you. But I couldn't help it. Like, it just was who I was. And I remember being in college and going to my mom because I had got offered like my first big gig, but it was taking me out of school for 6 months, and which meant I had to leave school, and I had a scholarship and the whole 9 yards. And I remember going to my mom and having a conversation with her, saying, you know, this is what I do. And all she said to me was, follow your heart. If you want to go do this, go on the road. You want to chase your music career, by any means possible, do it, and we'll support you. And that means a lot, you know what I mean? Because I know a lot of people who their family don't necessarily support dreams of being, you know, in the music business, because it is such a, you know, for people, it's like a long shot to actually make it, you know what I mean? And you go through so much.
But Sharaya, that was pure. That was pure.
Yes.
And that's something that people have to realize. That was pure, follow your heart. That was, yes. Let me tell you to go do something that's going to make you a whole bunch of money because you already got the way in. It's no, follow your heart. Whatever that's is going to lead you the way, because your heart is what you have to go to sleep with it being comfortable at night.
Facts. And I totally just, anytime, like, you know, it's days too, this business gets hard, and you just be like, man, maybe this is not it. You know what I mean? Days where you ain't got no money, when all you got is your love and your passion for what you want. And my family always supported me, even if they had to pull their money together to make sure that we could invest in something that I wanted to do, because they believed in what I could accomplish. And I believe that having that type of circle around you to encourage you and push you even in your dark moments, like, that's everything, because I could always go back there too. You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter what, no matter how many places I traveled, no matter how many people I've met, relationships I've had, I can always go back to my family, and that foundation will still be just as strong as the first time when she told me, follow your heart. Well, my mom.
And you know, the most beautiful thing is what she told you didn't cost a penny to tell you.
Ooh, come on.
And
a whole jewel for nothing. You better know it.
And that's an investment. If people don't understand, yeah, you could think that person talking to you, telling you things is trying to help you, don't realize that he's really trying to help you, or she's really trying to help you.
Really?
I got this job called consultations. I got my last set, or my only segment I'm gonna present to you. It's called my impulse Q&A. It's 3 questions I wrote down earlier that are impulsive, and I want your impulse answer. You don't like the question, it's all good. You're not gonna hurt my feelings. Just say pass, and I hit you with another one. Are you ready?
Ready.
Question number 1. What is the funniest thing you seen a kid do?
Honey, I just seen a little kid sing the words to these old school records that they have no business knowing, and it just so hilariously, and young kids sing old school records with like all that passion and soul, like they've been here before. And me and my mom was watching it, and we was cracking up, because of course this little baby had no idea who sang these records, but clearly that was an influence from her parents who got her listening to old school stuff. So we just cracked up about that because it was just adorable.
Ooh, no, that is funny. I'm just happy you didn't say that they were singing, oh, ski, 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 ski.
Nah, not that record.
Question number 2. If you could redo any moment that you bombed in your career, would you?
Hell yeah, yep. If I could, because I do have times when I feel like, damn, I should have did this, or something didn't happen right in a performance. And if I could go redo it and make it 100, I would.
At least you real. Some people like, no, it shaped me. Like, come on, let's be real.
It's true, but if I could go back and make it perfect. But if I'm a perfectionist, so look, I'm always trying to be the best at what I do. But yeah, if I get opportunity to go make it right, I'm game.
Come on, hell yeah. Question number 3. What is one thing that you recommend everyone tries at least once?
Oh, in their life? Smoke weed. I gotta say smoke weed. At least try it one time.
Yeah, calm your ass down. Use some CBD toilet paper. Calm that ass down.
Look, because too, I look at marijuana. I don't look at marijuana in a negative, light, because look, you know how many doctors and nurses told me during my chemo, this is what you need to do. To help me during my chemo. They encouraged me to use medical marijuana.
Hey, just so people know, chemo, you don't get hungry. Like, hunger is no longer inside your words.
Look, your appetite is gone. And you might get nauseous even with nothing in your stomach.
Come on, all you doing is throwing up stomach lining, and that ain't good for nobody. But you hit some marijuana, it make you want to eat.
Let me tell you,
laugh, make you want to.
That's the only reason why I would have to smoke, especially during chemo. Like, I would have to smoke to even get an appetite. Like, you know what I mean? Or I would need it, the medicinal type, just to even be able to function sometimes. Like,
it's so funny because, we from Cali. Like, there is no difference between medicinal and recreational. The difference is that either you get the top of the tree or you get the bottom of the tree.
Bottom of the tree, right? That part.
You have survived my impulse Q&A, and you have been just stellar of a guest. As a reward, let's promote. Let's run it up. Everyone tuned in. Let them know what they got to go to and support. What are you excited for coming up?
For sure. So yes, so SharayaJ.com is everything Sharaya J. Y'all can always go there and check out anything about Sharaya J that y'all need coming up, updates and all that. I just dropped a new single called Nunu and just did a new video for it. It's a new video for it out right now that I did direct, and I'm very proud of it, and it's been getting so much like dope feedback. So Nunu, check that out. I'm also I actually just working on a project out in LA too. It's like a new a revamp of a musical of Sister Act 2. Do you remember that movie?
I had Ryan Toby on the show.
Huh?
I had Ryan Toby on the show.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, Ryan. He's the brother that sings at the end, and he's with
Oh, from the group.
Yes, City High.
Sing "Oh Happy Day." What's City High?
Yeah, City High. Yeah.
Yes. Oh yes, shout out to him. So I'm excited about that project, and you know, I love that movie. Lauryn Hill is one of my like ultimate. That's like still to this day like a dream collaboration of mine. But yeah, I got that coming out, and I'm actually also working on another show out in LA right now for television. I can't mention what it is, but I'm very excited about the project. And I just feel good. I'm living life, and I appreciate all y'all love and support so much all the time.
So Sharaya, you notice my show, it's a little different. It's a little unique. They got segments, so I was like, I gotta have a segment, but I ain't do it like them. And I'm like, how do I keep that same energy and close out? And the viewers knows I'm gonna hit you with it, so I'm gonna hit you. You got any questions for me?
I mean, not. Where you from? Oh, LA. You told me originally, right?
Yes.
But not really. You pretty transparent host. Like you, organic, real. You kind of let it. You know what I'm saying? Just let it all flow. So I feel like real talk. I learned a lot about you too this interview.
Now, that's dope, because normally after these interviews, they don't be knowing who the person that interviewed them. They'll just be like, "Oh yeah, that aired. Go check this out." But to leave an impression.
Leave an impression for sure, right?
Thank you.
I felt like we was two friends chopping it up, like about how we would be at the crib. So that's dope.
Oh, but if that's an invitation to come work, you know, I just signed it.
Say less. Say less.
Hey, Contrast Uncut. It's Pink October. I've had the honor and pleasure of raising awareness on breast cancer all episode long, but another raising awareness on this beautiful soul, this powerful, powerful woman that is doing so much for society, that she's influenced people to be true to themselves. And if you can't understand the goal and the passion of being true to yourself, I recommend you go look in the mirror or go listen to some Sharaya J. Nunu just dropped, the video just dropped, and make sure you support this beautiful queen. Thank you for coming on the show and just fucking with us. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me, man. Thank y'all so much. Sharaya J in the building, man. I just had a crazy, crazy interview on Contrast Uncut. Big love to the OG Snoop Dogg, yo, and Bobby D. I appreciate y'all so much. BANJI.
Let's go.
Nigga, this ain't what you want. Can I kick it when I'm rhyming? Be a legend through Ebonics. Was a sticker boy. Felt like sticky fingers played at Onyx. Can I live track 8? Feel like Jigga 96. Without a reasonable doubt, the album turned me into this. Shit, we always had dreams of being money making Mitch. Without jewelry on. Hit a jail pose. Take a flick. Feel like Pac and keep your head up. Biggie shooting juice. Coach is still alive. Just let me prove. King, nigga. Everything that you do. Baby, I salute you.
Right there you go. Another episode of Contrast Uncut. Make sure if you enjoyed it, you leave a comment below. You hit some like buttons. You hit some subscribe. You go ahead and hit share if you want to. Say something nice or say something you don't want to say at all. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Comment below.